Okay, we are live on LinkedIn. I'm joined by Ben Jabbawy, who is the CEO and founder of Privy. Privy is the #1 app on the Shopify store. Ben, welcome to another episode of e-commerce on fire. Why don't you give us an intro on who you are and your story to date?
Hey, Adam, pumped to be here. Huge fan of your content and Magnet Monster. So I'm the founder and CEO over at Privy. We are a email marketing solution and more for small brands that are selling online on Shopify, Wix, others. I'm also the host of the daily podcast, eCommerce Marketing School. So go check that out. A lot of nuggets on tactics on how to grow your store. But yeah, Privy as a business, we support a couple 100,000 stores. We offer things like pop-ups to grow your email list, to cross-sell and increase average order value, email marketing automation, and text marketing automation as well.
Good stuff. So let's dive right into one of the core features of Privy, which is obviously what you guys became known for, I would say, the lead gen pop-ups. Now, there's many suggested best practices, and I know this is a question that's been done to death, but let's go over some of the best practices, take it back to the beginning for e-commerce stores, and also in regard to the follow-up conversion rate and timings, page scroll, exit intent, etc. Let's say you're a new business, e-commerce business, where would you start, and what have you seen to be the most effective?
Yeah, so I think just for people that are new to all this, if you log into your Shopify store and you look at your store's conversion rate, it's probably somewhere between 1% and 3%. And so, these are people that are on your store. Very few of them end up buying, and the rest leave, right? 98, 97% leave. So, the idea of like growing an email list and the way that you do that, pop-ups work really well, is about building a relationship that you own with the customer so that you can use email marketing as a way to educate them about the product after they've left, bring them back to the store and close the sale, right? Whether it's the first order or repeat, et cetera. And pop-ups are a great way to do that because like historically, you used to just have to like leave it up to fate and wait for them to scroll all the way into your footer.
Yeah.
And just nobody does that, right?
Yeah.
And so, platforms like Privy especially make it easy to control these things, to design them. And there's all sorts of ways that you can trigger them. So that's kind of what you're getting at with your question about timing, scroll, et cetera. The way that I think about the world is to think about different use cases and audiences and make sure you're putting something relevant in front of them. So just to keep it simple, the playbook that I recommend for customers is the first I call is a welcome offer. So someone hits your store, give them a couple seconds, see how far they scroll down the page. And what I recommend is hit them with an offer when they're 5 seconds in, or if they've scrolled 75% of the way down the page. And what is an offer? It could be a content download about the quality of your products. It could be a coupon code. It could be an offer for free shipping. It doesn't need to be huge, or it could be enter to win a product giveaway that you do monthly, something like that. And that's kind of focused on the top of the funnel. New visitors, these are not subscribers, they've never ordered. And if they leave, you have no idea who they are. So that's kind of top of the funnel. I think it's important to give them a little bit of time and let them show some intent before you do it. And then, the other kind of little nuance that I like to do is sometimes people get hit with a pop-up and they close it out. They're just not ready. And then they have no way of getting that offer back. So we've got this little thing called a tab that you can add that lets the actual visitor, re-engage at a moment when they're ready. If they initially kind of turned it down, and those convert really well in that like welcome offer use case.
And this is with like the fly out on the mobile, I assume you're referring to.
That's actually a tab. You can put it on anything. And it's like, it could be a little dialog box. It can be stuck in the corner. It can be, attached to the top or the bottom of the site. There's a number of configurations that you can add to your pop-up called a tab. The other use case, and then I'll get to the desktop mobile stuff in a sec. The other use case that I think is really valuable is kind of not focused on new visitors like the welcome offer, but focused on people that are a little bit further down the funnel. It's what we call the cart saver. And so this is the idea that you've got a non-subscriber who's added products to the cart, got a certain amount of money in the cart, right? So they're like further down that funnel, and they're about to leave, right? So you're detecting how much is in their cart and the fact that they're about to leave. And that's the cart saver. And you can kind of give them one last ditch effort to capture that lead and close that sale. And that's another really like high intent opportunity to build your list. So I find that like all the tactics of timing and page scroll and exit intent, none of those things really matter. I mean, they do, that's how you execute it, but it's really about like finding the right group of people to put something in front of that is going to be relevant for them.
That's a very important point, actually, because I think one of the old misconceptions, and when you say pop-up, people think of them in a way that disturbs the customer journey, but the way you portray it, it actually enhances not only the conversion rate, but it's better for the buyer as well, because it helps guide them and make better decisions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even this cart saver use case, like that's going to help you build your list from people that are most interested, and it's actually going to help you prevent 10% of carts from going abandoned. So really valuable stuff that, like you said, adds value.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of those more advanced features, because obviously it's not just about top of the funnel. There is also cross-selling that you've rolled out with Privy. So what's some of the low-hanging fruits for new customers that are coming to the site for the first time, and also returning customers as well?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. So if I'm at the grocery store of my daughter, she's 4 years old, and we're waiting in line to check out. She's standing there and she's looking at the candy that's displayed right next to the checkout. And she says, oh, she calls me Baba. She says, oh, can I get one of those? What are those? And that's a cross sell. So basically the idea is when someone is about to check out on your site, are there other items that are relevant that you can put in front of them and make it easy, like single click, for them to add that to their existing order?
Yeah.
And the whole idea here is, it's a way for you to increase the average order value. And so what we did with Privy is we said, hey, we make it easy to design these things, whether it's for list growth or actually driving sales. And you should be able to design and control them from the same place. And so that's what Privy cross-sell is all about. You can design something, you can pick up what products are in the cart of that person, more importantly, which are not, and you can easily help them add something to their cart that wasn't in it. And I think, for most people listening, I think like maybe this is new to them, and I like to keep things simple in the beginning, but the way that I would come up with a good cross sell if I was doing this myself would be to say, hey, what is my most popular product in my store? Mm-hmm. Right. And then I would say, I design something and I would target it to every person who has product in their cart that doesn't have the most popular product. And I would just have a simple little kind of fly out or pop up that says, hey, people that like those also like this, click here to add that to the cart. And that's just a really easy way to get started with cross sells.
What I like about that as well is that you can probably be a bit more generous on the margin, because you're adding bigger bundles together, which will increase the average order value. So you don't have to necessarily portray your store, which I know a lot of the merchants are worried about, is having excessive discounts. You can, like I said, boost that average order value and do it in a strategic way that's very profitable to you, actually.
Exactly. And actually with a cross sell, like I recommend starting without a coupon. Like there's no need there, I think you should just try it without it, because this is someone who's like about to check out, and in many cases it's a no-brainer to add the suggested product that goes nicely with it, right? So that's a really powerful use case. One other I want to share too that I think is really interesting is we talked a little bit about cart abandonment. One of the biggest reasons for abandonment is, hidden shipping costs, right? That you realize later in the funnel when you're about to check out. And there's nothing more annoying than that, right? And so there's this kind of like concept of dynamic shipping bars is what we call them, or a free shipping bar, some people refer to, which is like another kind of use case that you can unlock using Privy that we've found our merchants to have a lot of success with.
Yeah.
It's just something, you know, like a cross sell, like a list growth effort that we recommend having, which shows someone, hey, based on where they are and how much is in their cart, how far away are they from earning that free shipping threshold?
Yep. Yeah, Dylan agrees. He says it's all about extra net dollars made on the first time customer, especially whoever can pay the most for a customer wins. Completely agree, especially when you consider the cost of acquisition. This seems to me like such a overlooked feature that you can set up. And I always say these really small changes that you make to your store compound to massive differences. Even if there's a 1% uptake on this over the course of a year, like how much does that add to the bottom line? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hey Dylan, what's up? Thanks for listening. Yeah, I was just on a call with a customer of ours, and he was telling me that a lot of these small tactics over his first 15 months are what helped him get to $1 million in sales.
Yeah,
and a lot of these are just concepts that, you know, he had no idea what they were. He's not like an e-commerce expert. But he just like did the basic stuff. And I looked at his account, and it's not even that advanced, but some of these basic techniques, a lot of people overlook, and they really do drive tremendous value.
Yeah, completely agree. Just get the basics, the fundamentals in place, and it does make a massive difference over time. I know, obviously, I said we're going to talk about some of the biggest email marketing mistakes that e-commerce brands make. So once you've got people onto your list, but obviously you've rolled out SMS for Privy as well. So we might as well amalgamate both questions into one and talk a little bit about each. So yeah, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see once you've collected that email or SMS?
Yeah, I think it starts right away with how you confirm an opt-in. Yeah. I see this all the time. I think that there's, believe it or not, and maybe some are listening, and it's okay if this is you, but a lot of people grow an email list and they don't do anything, and they wait until, you know, November rolls around and Black Friday, and then they just start blasting the list. And that's just not how you do it, right? So if you're growing your email list or your SMS list, like, it starts with how you confirm that opt-in while they're still on your site, right? We call it a little thank you page. Design that, you know, deliver on the expectation. If you offered a code or you know, free shipping, like, make it abundantly clear while they're still on your site how to access that. But also assume that they're leaving your site, right? And so send an immediate welcome email or welcome text, just kind of confirming it. I don't think you need to be doing like a double opt-in email, but just send something immediately, right? It sets that expectation. If you promise something, deliver it immediately. But I think that's like, you know, that's probably the number one mistake I see people make, is just not confirming the opt-in properly. And then, you know, I'm a huge fan of email and automation, specifically for email or text. You know, a lot of kind of newer store owners go right into broadcasts, and that's fine. Like, that's a great way to launch new products and generate, you know, healthy revenue. But I think this concept of automation, it's really easy to execute no matter which platform you're using, certainly within Privy. But these like targeted use cases, they're just going to be helping you essentially meet the different customers that you have, or the leads that you have, where that person is in their buying journey, even if, you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're asleep.
I completely agree. It's very interesting, actually, what you just said there about setting the expectations and campaign and automation. One of the things I must say we've been guilty of, and I've sort of really doubled down on this year, is I've been adding custom properties to anyone who joins a welcome flow or a post-purchase flow. And then I've been excluding them from the campaigns. So I think if you look at the way these automations are set up, it's done in a very specific manner to let the customer pass through the journey. So I would rather leave the campaigns until they've passed through those flows and got the first impression that I've wanted. And again, it's just something that I realized when I've been making a few purchases from some brands recently, and I've been whacked so hard with campaigns in between the welcome or post-purchase flow. And it was such a negative experience that it made me realize, like, maybe I need to be a bit more patient with our clients and go back and really look at the customer journey, which I don't think a lot of people do after they set this stuff up.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I recently just had an experience in my own, online shopping where that I think really exemplifies what you're saying. So I placed an order for a product. 4 weeks later, it still hasn't shown up.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm getting, 3 or 4 broadcasts from that brand, announcing promotions, right, and coupon codes, and that's fine. I get it. Like, that's an important part of marketing. But I think, just like you were saying, for people early on, there's also like a couple other exclusions you want to consider from your broadcasts. One would be like people who have ordered in the last 30 days and the fulfillment is still open, right? Probably want to stay away from that. So I think there's a couple simple things that when you think about it as just like a human and you buy online, it really makes it easier to approach some of these automations and segmentation and all that stuff.
Just treat the customer like a human and not like a cash cow. I agree. Rod says, discovered Privy's 2-step feature lately. 1, ask for email. Step 2, ask for mobile number and segment. Quite interesting. Nice,
Rod. Yeah, that's a good play. Yeah, the intersection of email and text, I think, is really interesting. You could certainly have a form and ask for email and text in the same. A lot of people are afraid of doing that. We have seen a lot of success in doing that still, believe it or not. We thought the sign-up rates would go down. Certainly waiting for the confirmation page of the email to ask for text, like Rod is saying, has worked really well for people. The other thing I think that's important about using a single platform like Privy to control all of your opt-ins is you can actually look for people on your site that have already completed forms for email. You can wait for them to come back or wait for them to do a certain amount of purchases and then hit them with an opt-in. And you can be specific. You could be like, hey, thanks for being a loyal subscriber.
Yeah.
Right. We're also offering, VIP specials on text. Right. And that's the type of stuff that when you control all of this from one place, you can really unlock a lot of magic.
I completely agree. Very overlooked, and we've been guilty of it as well. Sort of set it and forget it. You want to go back and look at these things constantly and find ways, especially with returning customers, where most of your profits will come from, of making sure they're treated well. So Samuel, I think, is referring to the example you gave early on when he said, sorry, about the $1 million in revenue for this new customer. Did he use Privy? I assume so.
Yes, Samuel, good question. So he's using Privy for conversion on his site and for email marketing. And his playbook was, he had like a spin to win display focused on new visitors. He had a cart saver focused on middle of the funnel. And then he had a welcome series. He had post-purchase series. He had a win back series, cart abandonment series, and he was sending probably a broadcast every week, once a week.
Just the fundamentals. Question from Barry. Barry's one of my clients actually as well. Is SMS available in Ireland in the UK yet?
No, not yet.
Everyone's asking of every single software company this question at the moment.
Yeah, I know. No, not yet. Just here in North America.
I'm actually really interested to get your opinion on this as well. We've not only looked at this as a lead gen technique, but also something to be more sophisticated with retargeting customers, being more specific on the customer journey and just providing better experience for them. What's your opinion on quizzes? Will we reach quiz fatigue at some point as more and more brands adopt them? I think that's a very good question.
I'm already there on quiz fatigue.
Yeah.
I think they're a fantastic tool in the toolbox. I really do, and I understand it. And I think if you offer 4 products that are super similar in a category, and it's hard to know like which one to buy, fine. But I just find at least a lot of the stores that we work with, they don't have more than 3 or 4 products, and usually those products are in pretty different categories, right? So yeah. I think there's a time and a place for a quiz. I think, there's always a new shiny toy in the ecosystem. And I think over time, it'll settle down a little bit, but I think they're incredibly valuable for the brands that understand when to apply something like that.
And need them as well. Like you said, I think we run the risk, or the brands run the risk, of just forcing one in for the sake of having all the bells and whistles. But you really need to look at how that impacts your conversion rate, and whether you even need one in the first place. If you've just got 3 or 4 products, like, what's the purpose of using them?
Yeah, for sure.
Another question: is Privy a standalone product, or does it work with an email software?
Yeah. So we offer a bundle in case you want to do everything here. But we also offer integrations into, the leading email software companies too. And those are great partners of ours, and all the data flows automatically.
Good stuff. I'm just seeing a little bit of back and forth actually between Jordan and Dylan talking about site speeds. Jordan said he's had a negative effect with Privy on site speeds, and Dylan has came back with this rebuttal. Are you talking about visual, or maybe let's just address it, because we can't just talk about the positives. We should deal with the difficult questions as well.
Yeah. Love it, Jordan. Good question, Dylan. Love your response. Anytime you add something to your site that's tracking visitor behavior and using JavaScript, it's going to add some amount of weight, right? I think depending on when Jordan tested us over the years, we have an amazing engineering team here in the US, and we invest regularly. And, I don't think that that's something that should be a concern. And we continue to kind of overhaul our technologies to focus on performance on top of the site.
Yep, good stuff. Yeah, so give Privy another chance, Jordan, and see if maybe you can get a year free up front from Ben. Let's talk about something that I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on. What brands excite you at the moment in e-commerce?
Oh, wow. Ooh.
And what are they doing differently that makes you excited than the others?
I am a huge fan of the founders that are building businesses without relying 100% on paid ads. I think there's a lot of them. I'll talk about 2 today. And you've probably never heard of them, but I love this, and both of them focus on community. Yeah. The first is Belladonna. They're in LA. Check them out. And they, I'm not going to say their revenue numbers, but they're amazing, and they have never bought Facebook or Instagram ads, and they're very authentic. They're very authentic about engaging with a target customer base, which for them is Latino women. And they do an amazing job with that. So that's organic social. Check out their Instagram. You'll see it's not just pushing products. It's really about like supporting, encouraging their community.
Yeah.
And then on the site, a lot as it relates to conversion and email marketing. And I've just been amazed, right? And I think what they do really well, they found a very specific customer base. They serve that customer base both in community and in products specific to that base better than anyone else. And that's a really strong equation that can take you very far without spending a lot of money on Facebook. The other that comes to mind is this guy I was just chatting with and posted about that you commented on. So I'll share a little bit. He's a senior in college. He actually, when we connected last week, he had to step out of his internship to hop on Zoom with me. And he's gone from 0 to 1 million in 15 months. And, what I thought was really interesting is he's a drop shipper, which you don't hear a lot about drop shippers kind of getting to that scale sustainably. And he doesn't spend a lot on Facebook ads. So, what he does is he's doing really well on TikTok. He does do some influencer paid. And what he does there is he doesn't focus on the people that have millions of followers. He focuses on two categories. One is these like theme page accounts that are like basketball fans, or, baseball, or stuff like that. And then he targets influencers that, or maybe people who don't think of themselves as influencers, but maybe have like 5 to 20,000 followers. And he's not paying them per post. He's actually just he's reaching out and sending them free product. So that's kind of his success story on TikTok and Instagram. And then, the rest has all been email.
It's nice, isn't it? I think we're going to get to that point again where people are going to have to become more creative than just relying on top of the funnel. And, it's nice to turbocharge with Facebook and Instagram and Google Ads, and they're very powerful. But I do think we're going to see a more considered long-term play and more creative marketing focused on, like you said, community. There has to be, because it's so hard to become profitable if you're just driving one-time visits from a customer.
Yeah. And on top of that, there's the Apple Facebook stuff brewing right now, right? Yeah. So it's actually, it's going to be harder to target on Facebook. And, I think that's just going to drive more of a reliance on building a contact list that you own, whether that's email or text.
Gareth says, Dope Snow is killing it. I've never heard of them. A few? No, not really. Charlotte says, check out Groomy. We are doing some very exciting things. Awesome. Check it out. Going to come back to another question from Rod. Have you found a conversion difference on the spin to win leads for your standard 10% off first offer?
Yeah, I find, there's really like a dividing line around spin to win. Like some people hate it, and there's some people that are just like absolutely love it. I think there's a time and a place for it. I think 10%. So in terms of like expected benchmarks around sign up rate, if you just have a form that says join our email list, you should expect about 1% of people to sign up that see it. If you've got something that says join our email list and get a code for 10% off, you should expect anywhere from 5 to 10% of people to register. And if you do something like a spin to win or enter to win our monthly giveaway, you should expect over 10% to sign up. The thing that I would say around these like spin to win stuff is if you're targeting new traffic at the top of the funnel, it can be a little bit gimmicky, right? So that the quality of those subscribers is typically lower than just a standard like join and get 10%, but the sign up rate is higher. So it's something that you can play with. Where I really like spin wheels are actually not targeting new visitors. I think like at the end of a season, if you've got a bunch of product left over that you want to move, I'd send an email to your loyal customer base. And I would say, hey, we're doing like a weekend sale just for our most, valued customers, and click here to kind of spin our, VIP wheel. And the only people who would see that when they hit the site are the people referred from the UTMs in the email. So you're targeting just your most loyal base. It's like focused on same day sales from VIPs when you've got a bunch of product left over. We've seen that to be a great place to use the spin to win.
I completely agree. Actually, I think one of the problems with spin to wins is that people might find them a bit gimmicky, but they've been using them the wrong way. Like everyone knows the majority of the spin to wins, you're going to get 10% off. So if you are using them in that context, then maybe you might as well just give someone 10% off. But there's a lot, it goes back to what I was saying before. I think you can be creative, especially with returning customers, and actually do give them something different than a coupon. There's loads of other things, exclusive invite to a specific community, There's so many ideas if you actually sat down and thought about other things that you could give the customers, free gifts even with the next order.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of these things, when you kind of go under the hood, just like email, I find, people spend a lot of time thinking about segmenting emails, send this to that person, send this to the other group of people. Like, if you take a very similar approach to your site traffic, I think that's where you can unlock a lot of magic. So it's less about like spin wheel versus, pop up versus fly out. And it's more about like, think about core groups of people that are interacting with your business and come up with something that's relevant to them, that's going to get them over the line.
Yeah, people do need to obviously think more deeply about their customer rather than just conversion. Another one from Dylan, going in quite deep with this one. Ben, I've heard you talk about an inflection point in your business where you were going through a challenging period, little money left, and that was followed by a strong growth period. I'm curious what shifts in the business personally drove that shift. I've read your story. It's great. So you might as well give you the soapbox here. Tell us it again.
Shifting gears. Awesome, Dylan. Yeah. So this was what's 2020. So this was like 2014. This was before we really entered e-commerce. And I think before anyone knew who we were, obviously. So, we were just kind of focused on doing focused on the wrong customer. We were focused on brick and mortar businesses at the time, a lot of restaurants, retail. So we were doing that. We also didn't have a very clear wedge. So we were trying to be everything to everyone, as opposed to kind of like I coach my customers and what I was saying, like doing one thing and being very specific to a specific target customer. And we made it hard to buy. You had to talk to us, you had to sign contracts, all the things that now in SaaS, to be wrong. And so, that was tough. We were flat for many years before we found success. And what we changed was really everything. We said, okay, we need to focus on one customer instead of brick and mortar. Let's focus on e-commerce. We wanted to do one thing better than anyone else. We wanted to make it easy to try and easy to buy the software. That's a big part of our philosophy today. So we've got a really strong free plan over at Privy. And we wanted to make it easy for you to unlock that value by yourself without talking to anyone, if that's how you want to do it. So time to value. And then the other thing that we do differently and is a big part of who we are and what differentiates us is we are focused on small brands, right? So, sure, like there might be some big ones that come down and like the software, that's fine, but we're really here for the entrepreneur. And part of that is our support and our coaching. So even if you're on our free plan, you're going to get an amazing support experience. And, that's something that we believe in, that I think a lot of other vendors we hear. It's kind of like you're screaming into the void. And, those are the same things that we believe in today, right? So it's easy to use software that's focused on the small business. And it's about giving them the coaching and education that they need.
Yeah, you've got a great company culture, I must say. And shout out to Marco, great guy, love him.
He's awesome.
He's a legend. Gareth, great advice, audience segmentation through automated user experiences on site. I feel as though this is a very neglected area that people should put a lot more time into. And I think it goes back to looking at returning customers, and they can be so much more profitable if you just think a little bit more deeply. We do a lot of progressive profiling in the welcome flow, and we're trying to step this up even more, then give people custom properties, tag the profile, and then trying to be more granular in segmentation. So I think there's so much room for improvement in retargeting your current customers and just providing better experiences for them.
Yeah, I agree. I also think there can be too much of that. Like I think, I don't know where your audience sits in terms of their business journey, right? But I think even some people listening might just be like, oh my God, like there's so much to do. Where do you even start? But I'm just amazed that this this guy Hayes that I was talking to from Jersey Bird Official, you know, he basically has just the absolute basic email automations in place with Privy, and it's driving a ton of business for him. So I do think, you know, you got to learn, listen to our podcast, hopefully listen to Adam and Magnet Monster's content. He does great content. But just turn it on, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes like you just got to start, and then you can tweak it and get more fancy over time.
I agree. So going back to some of the challenges with Facebook ads, the iOS rollout, and you know, well documented, done to death by now. You mentioned before about the brands, was it Belladonna, who have never paid for an Instagram or Facebook. What do you think some of the key trends and big marketing opportunities are going to be this year?
I mean, I think we'd be fools not to talk about TikTok. You know, I keep hearing a lot of people finding success there. So I think that's a channel to explore for sure. I'm trying to do it myself. I just joined and trying to kind of post daily. We'll see how it goes. I'm not doing dancing yet, but maybe next video. But yeah, I think, you know, really just like leaning into some of the channels where your customers are. What else? I think story, you know, like really taking the time to tell your story in 1,000 different formats. Like I find a lot of founders struggle to do that. Maybe they're shy in front of the camera, or they just kind of think it's already baked into an about page. But I find like everything you do needs to be like focused and anchored around the story. Otherwise it's hard to know like why you're unique versus some brandless company on Amazon that you can buy from. So, you know, I think story, I think exploring new channels in audiences that don't need paid, like a TikTok. And, you know, I think what's tried and true, like, you know, build community, do it in a place that you own, whether that's email, text, or organic social. I think those things, even though they're not the shiniest toys in the shed, I think they're the gifts that keep on giving.
So at the end of this broadcast, you're going to pick that book behind you and do a dance for your first TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah, wait.
There we go.
That's right. This is the book that we wrote. It's really just focused on making things easy to digest and for your Shopify store. It's called the eCommerce Marketing Handbook.
How's that went, by the way? Are you only shipping physical copies still?
Yeah. Right now it's physical. It was fun, you know, for us. So we actually wanted to, or we still are, just try selling it directly on Shopify. So we launched a Shopify store, and we've been doing that direct, and it's been going really well for us. You know, we have an audience, and a lot of it is focused on education. So I think people really ate it up. And it was a great way for us to kind of dog food, use our product, learn a lot, learn about the fulfillment side. I think at some point, you know, as we think about, you know, writing more books, my team may kill me for saying that, but you know, we may take some other formats in digital only, Kindle, things like that.
Yeah. What was the thinking behind making it in print? Was it that you wanted something tangible that people can hold? Was it a bit of a marketing ploy as well?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. For us, this was 100% focused on brand and marketing and education, and it's been amazing for us.
Good stuff. That's interesting. And you obviously putting the money where your mouth is as well, selling directly through Shopify. Yeah,
it was fun. I mean, Dan and Lauren, who are the co-authors on the book, they're amazing. They did the majority of the heavy lifting, but I think they each learned a lot about e-commerce and, you know, the full operation, not just the marketing side. I will say, out of all the software companies in e-commerce, I think Privy's marketing and the team does the best job on just everything: content, education, personal branding. I think that the support system and the culture is very strong. And I think,
there's a lot of other companies in the industry that can learn from you guys, what you're doing.
That's really kind of you to say.
Definitely.
And I that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I think we have an incredible marketing team.
You do.
And it's all the way, the bench is strong, it's small, and the amount that they put out it blows me away, honestly.
Yep. Good stuff. So Ben, tell us a little bit before we end, what's in the future for Privy this year?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. So yeah, I think, maybe people listening know us for our roots around conversion, but over the last year or so, we've really kind of expanded the platform a lot. A big theme in the market right now is consolidation. And for our customers that are focused on, learning and looking for amazing support, we really want to be email marketing and more for them, right? Everything they need to get to $1 million in sales. So I'm not going to reveal too much, but you can expect more on the email and tech side from Privy this year, and a couple other things as well.
I'm calling Privy to all our clients the Swiss Army knife for e-commerce.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad.
If you take that strap line, then I want some equity in the company.
That's great. I'll pitch it to Dave and see what he thinks.
Ben, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Obviously, I assume if people want to find out more, they can just contact you on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Listen to the podcast, eCommerce Marketing School, or just privy.com.
Good stuff. I'm going to give you a tag in this after, but I'm going to end it here, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam.